Hey guys, it's Izuku here with What If Deku was a condition of Batman? Now the story's gonna be hella weird. There's gonna be reality warp bursts, villains from Batman's universe entering my academia universe, and Izuku interacting with old friends and families, but he's also Batman, so etc. Also, quick, I don't know, message I guess. Maybe wondering why I haven't uploaded like practically almost 2 months practically. You see, I've been busy with school. And also, I've been having trouble finding motivation to like record this. Like, I find motivation to work in the scripts and stuff like that. I just don't have motivation to record it. Also, I'm slightly sick if you can't tell. Hopefully that doesn't mess with me too much. But with that said, let's start to What If already. Okay, where were we? Okay, yeah. So we cut to a burning building, known as Ace Chemicals. But as a bat-shaped plane flies over it, a fully grown man wearing a bat costume lands on the ground. This is Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman. But as Batman starts walking, his gauntlets start to light up, and that's when some sort of hologram appears. It reveals an elderly old man known as Alfred. Everything says, Master Bruce. Oracle's readings state there is a signature of massive unknown energy. I suggest you bring Nightwing or Robin. Batman says it's too dangerous. There's not enough time. But then the call is interrupted by Robin. Robin says, Father, my researcher says there are hundreds of criminals in there. Ask for you to wait. Batman says I can handle them. We then cut to Batman throwing a man through a wooden wall. And as he walks through the window, you can see in the background hundreds of people on the ground. But as he finishes walking through the hole, he hears a deep voice, and it says, I recognize that smell anywhere. That's when a giant crocodile man appears and says, if it isn't the Batman. The Batman says, get out of my way or else, Killer Croc. As Killer Croc then roars and charges. We then cut to a man in clown makeup in a purple suit, mixing a bunch of chemicals for some unknown reason. When another clown person appears, these people are Joker and Harley Quinn. But as Harley says, share me Harry pudding before the bat shows up, Joker says, it's alright, Harley. Killer Croc is dealing with the Batsy. But then a roof breaks in and Killer Croc falls through and hits the ground, with Batman on top of him. And Joker says, let the games begin! He says, Harley, go! And Harley says, anything for you, pudding. But she charges at Batman. Batman just grabs her neck and slams her to the ground, which knocks her out instant. As he looks up, he sees Joker pointing a gun, and he says, oh, come on! I was so close. Soon my laughing gas would have covered all of Gotham. And even you would have been laughing. But as Batman's pulling out a batarang, he says, this is the end tonight. He then throws the batarang as Joker shoots his gun, which makes Joker fumble and miss. That allows Batman to grab him, but Joker then says, uh-oh. That's when Batman turns around and sees the bullet hit container of chemicals that is now leaking. But as the chemical leaks, it reaches a destroyed control panel with a loose electrical wire. Joker then says, I hope there's a bang! A huge explosion then engulfs Ace Chemicals, leaving Alfred, who was watching the footage, gasps. But as the fire goes down, a small shadow appears and says, no, it can't end like this. I need to bring him back. Maybe a reboot? No. Maybe a prequel? No, because you'll still be dead. How about a resurrection? A game makes him a popular TV show, satisfies those fanboys. But I wonder who should do the crossover. He looks at his phone and sees training. He says My Academia, aka MHA. He says perfect. He then pulls out a script and starts scribbling, revealing a script saying My Bat Academy. Beneath it says Batmite. He then reveals the creature is Batmite and says, let's start the show! He then snaps his fingers. We then cut to a baby boy being held by a doctor. Dr. Six is a healthy boy before handing it to Incommatoria. He says, I think I'll call him Izuku. And Izuku's life is pretty much the same, up until the day Deku was supposed to go to the doctor to find out his quirk. But as Izuku is jumping up and down, soon things change when the doctor tells him he's quirkless. Izuku drops his toys. But we now cut to 5 years 5-year-old Izuku, basically a year later. Izuku is trying to stop Koch from bullying another student, or another kid, to be more precise. But as Izuku tries to stop him, Koch says, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You have no quirk. You're basically useless, Deku. Izuku. That's it. You're useless, Deku." But Izuku says, "It doesn't matter. Because hurting other people because they're weaker isn't heroic." Koch says, "Shut up, you stupid Deku." But as Deku gets knocked back, he trips and hits his head. He then sees a bunch of flashes. He sees 2 people dead on the ground. A boy hugging an older man in a suit. Then a teenager training. Then him being held at gunpoint by a man with a badge. Then a man comforting a boy, staring at a poster called the Flying Crescents. Then the same boy in a red costume, then a blue one. And a boy stealing the wheels of a super van's car. Then him wearing a similar red outfit from earlier. But then engraved saying, "Rest in peace, Jason Todd." Then a lady in a bat costume, but then an orange-haired girl in a wheelchair. Then a man with 2 guns and a red helmet. But then another boy in a red costume. Then another one, then that same boy wearing a black cowl. Finally, an angry-looking boy in a red costume holding a katana. But as he sees the flashes of the old man in a bundle uniform, another old man with a badge, he starts crying. He was seeing and hearing a horrible laugh. But as Deku gets up, Kajun says, "What's wrong, Deku?" But Deku just walks away. Kajun says, "Where are you going, you shitty Deku?" But Deku doesn't even flinch, he just continues to walk. As he enters his home, Inko asks, "How was your day, sweetie?" But Deku just says, "It's okay, ma," while struggling to say it. But as he enters the room with their computer in it, he turns it on and starts typing. He looks up Justice League. No results. Silverman. No results. He starts looking up each member of the Justice League, but no results for each member. He then types Gotham City. No results. Then he types in Batman. No results. Then finally Bruce Wayne. No results. As Izuku's ready to stop, he types in one more thing. Thomas and Martha Wayne. No results. Then Izuku says, "What the hell happened? How am I back? What am I? What am I?" Says, "Something must have did this. Something powerful. I have a few suspicions, but there's no confirmation. I must figure out how to undo this. But I'm too weak in his body." And he gets stronger again. We then cut to 10 years later. We cut to some villain moving some crates on a dock. One of them hears a clank. But as he walks to check it out, he sees some sort of metal blade made out of scrap. And for some reason it looks like it's in the shape of a bat. And he says, "What the heck?" But then a hand puts a rag over his mouth and knocks him out. It then reveals a 15-year-old buff Izuku Midoriya in a homemade bat costume. But then he ducks into a shadow as 2 men talk about their lives. In the background, a man is put into water. The other one is pulled up from something above him. Another one gets grabbed and dragged into a dark shadow. But as the last one looks around and wonders where everybody went, a shadow covers him from above. As he points his gun up, before he can shoot, something pulls him up. That's when 2 guards turn around and ask him, "Where did everybody go?" There's something behind them, grabs both of them and slams their heads together, knocking them both out. But guys, quick reminder, I'm gonna call him Batman where he's in his Batman costume, but he's also Izuku. So remember that. But as Batman picks the lock for a shipping container, he walks in and opens it. As he opens it, he sees a bunch of white cases. But then he breaks one of them and sees that they're just cardboard. That's when he hears, "Did you do this?" That's when Batman taps his neck and a voice changer is activated, making Izuku/Batman's voice much deeper. It says, "Eraserhead." That's when he turns around and sees him. And Eraserhead says, "So you know who I am?" Batman says, "Of course. I've seen your work. You do fine work. But there are definitely some improvements you can make. Like having some sort of machine, some sort of support item to keep your eyes moisturized when open." And Batman says, "You talk like an expert, but from your height, you can only be like 16 or 17? And Batman says, "Impressive." He then shoots a homemade grappling gun that latches onto Eraserhead. But as he tries to remove it, Batman pulls it, and pulling Eraserhead towards him. He then lifts his hand up and clotheslines Eraserhead. But as he tries to run, he leans back and sees feather fly past his face. He then sees the number 3 hero, Hawks, and number 6 hero, Miracle. She says, "Let's fight, Bat Kid." But then he dodges her and says, "It's Batman," before grabbing her leg, using her body to block Hawks' feathers, which makes her fall. Hawks says, "Miracle!" But Batman says, "Don't worry, you're planning on knocking me out, right? So your feathers aren't strong enough to kill her. Just pass her out. Just knock her out, I mean." But then Hawks creates a sword. But then he hears stepping and sees Eraser got up back up. Somehow. Which you saw he should have been knocked out. They both charge at Batman. But as they charge, he jumps and dodges both of their attacks, before grabbing their head and slamming them together, knocking them both out Hawks. But as Eraserhead grabs his head in pain, Batman says, "I expect to work, so don't take this personally," before grabbing his scarf and punching him in the face. He then takes his scarf and says, "Flexible and strong fiber, impressive. Even Lucius Fox would take a while to make something like this." But as he grapples up a building, he hears, "No, no, no! This is so boring!" So Batman says, "Batmite." Before turning around and saying, "Batmite," Batman says, "I had a theory that it was you." Batman says, "It's nice to see you again, Batman. Or should I say, Izuku Midoriya." Batman says, "Why did you do this to me, Batmite?" Batman says, "'Cause why not? Me combining the dark and brooding night with the epic fights of anime and the charisma of Izuku. But look how disappointing everything is. All you did was spend the last 10 years training with your new body and went back to your old stick. But it's gotten even worse, because you don't have your Bat family or anything." That's when Batman has a light bulb, or an idea. He says, "That's it! Or add your friends, sidekick, even your villains. Maybe that'll make the story interesting, combining the worlds, but also making it so Izuku Midoriya is still taking the Batman. Man, this is gonna be one weird story." He says, "You can't. We won't be able to handle the psychopaths I deal with. Like Firefly, Bane, Scarecrow." But then Batman interrupts him and says, "Forget the classic Joker." Batman charges at Batmite. He snaps his fingers and a huge wave of energy knocks him back. But as he gets up, he hears a chopper. So when he turns around and sees a chopper saying MCPD. But then he sees a huge building with A and the name Wayne. He says, "Impossible." But as he moves to roof, he says, "What did he do this time?" So then he sees a police chopper and lands, and he says it can't be. But as he lands, a man is smoking a cigarette. When he says, "What the hell is going on here?" That's when he hears Batmite. That's when he hears somebody say, "Batmite is messing with reality." So then he turns around and says, "Bats?" But as he turns around, he sees a teenage version of Batman, or teenage-sized Batman. Says, Gordon says, "You have to be kidding me." But Batman says, "It's been a long 10 years, Jim." But Jim Gordon says, "What are you talking about, kid?" Then Batman says, "It's me, Gordon." But Gordon says, "It's impossible. You died a year ago." But Batman says, "For me, it's been 10 years, Jim." And Jim Gordon says, "How do I know for sure it was you?" "I was at your funeral," but Batman says, "If I know my family, they wouldn't reveal my identity even after death. So how and why were you at my funeral?" Then Jim says, "Barbara told me the truth, and I went. So what's your true name?" And Batman says, "Bruce Wayne." That's when Jim hugs him, says, "It's been a long time, old friend." And says, "It's been longer for me." He says, "How much do you remember?" That's when Jim says, "All I remember is that thing showing up in my office, and ending up here. Decided to stay quiet, because I said you're alive, and this is my dimension, but I ended up in an asylum. So I kept quiet about the fact that I'm from another universe. I need to find. I think a few of my cops may remember, maybe Cash, but I think that's it. Look, Bats, I need to get back home." And says, "I've been here for 10 years, Gordon. I left somebody else's life." And Jim turns around and looks at the city and says, "This place is nothing like Gotham. I'm pretty sure this is Japan. I don't know if I'm speaking Japanese or not. But I believe you, Bruce. I know you can get me, and the others out of here." And realize what even if it takes you a while. Then Mercy, you're in a new body, so you're no longer Bruce Wayne. So what's the new secret identity? But as he turns around, he sees that Batman's gone, and Jim says, "Something's never changed, does it?" But then we cut to an African American man wearing, I can't speak. We cut to, hold on guys, give me a quick second. Okay, sorry about that guys. There was a little error. Like I was saying, we cut to an African American man with glasses. This man is Lucius Fox. But then a window squeaks, but he doesn't turn around. He says, "So how are you alive?" That's when Batman says, in Izuku's voice, "Reincarnation." As soon as Lucius Fox looks up and turns around, he sees Batman but without his hood. So he's staring at the face of Izuku Midoriya. Lucius starts laughing and says, "You gotta be kidding me. You're a teenager now? You can't be any older than Damien, Mr. Wayne. Or is that still your name? Do you have a new name?" Izuku says, "I go by Izuku Midoriya now." Lucius says, "I'll call you Mr. Midoriya then. But I don't think we can change this sign on a building. At least without wasting a couple hundred million." Look at them and says, "I need to cut the others. If Batman brought you and Gordon here, they are still here." Lucius says, "Of course, Mr. Midoriya. Anything else?" And Lucas says, "In my current situation, I have to make do with my current equipment and suit. So I need you to make them for my size. I'll send you my measurements and adjust the bamboo before and jet for my size as well." Lucius says, "Sir, you can't be serious. You're in a teenage body. You can't be serious about fighting like that." Lucas says, "Lucius, Batman's planning to bring my enemies into this world as well. And this world has never experienced villains like mine. Which means I need to stop them before anything can happen. First, I need to speak with some people." We then cut to a large dog named Titus sitting next to Damian Wayne, aka Robin. And on the sofa next to him is Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, and Tim Drake, aka Red Robin. Across them is Barbara Gordon, ex-Batgirl, and current Oracle. But that's when Izuku Midoriya walks in, and Dick says, "Who's the kid?" And then Izuku says, "It's me, Dick." And for a few seconds they all stay quiet. Tim says, "Bruce? What happened to you?" Bruce says, "You're a kid now? How is that possible?" Dick says, "Well, this is awkward." Timmy says, "You can't be father." Izuku says, "Sit down, I'll explain everything." And we then cut to a few minutes later. Timmy says, "So basically, Batman put you in a 5-year-old body in a different universe. And after living in this universe for 10 years, when ours only passed 1, he appeared again and said he was going to bring all of your allies and enemies here." Urga says, "It makes sense why so many things exist now. The hero ranking, people like All Might and Endeavor exist. I never heard of them. Like, I'm pretty sure it'd be a major issue of the League if 80% of the population has special powers." But that's when an old man walks in and says, "It seems that this would handle it pretty fine." As soon as Izuku turns around and sees an elderly man and says, "Alfred, it's been a while." And Alfred says, "Likewise, sir. Seems you have changed a lot." Izuku says, "I have." He says, "This kind of brings up old memories when you were younger. Should I prepare a room for you?" Izuku says, "I can't stay." Izuku says, "Why not?" That's when Izuku says, "I'm Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman, but in this world I am Izuku Midoriya, everyday middle school student. I need you all to prepare and get ready." Tim says, "Of course, father. This is the weirdest thing to be dealt with, so we can handle it." Women then jumps out the window while putting his mask back on. We then cut to an alarm going off, but it's no security alarm, it's an alarm clock. We then cut to Izuku getting dressed. As he walks past his mom, he says bye before leaving for the train. He sits down at his desk, but then he overhears some kids talking to themselves. He says, "Did you hear Batman struck again?" And apparently 3 heroes tried to stop him, but lost. Then another kid says, "Not just that, apparently 2 of them were Miracle and Hawks." But then a 4th kid joined the conversation and says, "Did you hear?" They said, "We heard about Batman." But they said, "It's not about that religion, but attacking the sewers." This gets Izuku to listen more closely. This kid says, apparently there's a villain with an alligator quirk that's sewers. We then cut to the end of class, where the teacher walks in and says, "I could get on your chest, but I don't want to, so let's just say you'll pass." He then says, "I could also power career assessment sheets or application papers, but come on, I know you won't become heroes." Then everybody cheer except for Izuku and Kachan. Okay, guys, because of technical difficulties and stuff like that, had to like stop recording and stuff like that. But now we're back. So like I was saying, Kajin says, "Come on, Teach, don't rope me in with these losers. We both know I'm the one here who's gonna get into UA. And anybody else here would be lucky to become psychics from D-listers," which pisses off everybody. But Kajin says, "I'm the only one who's getting into UA." That makes everybody whisper, but then the teacher says, "That reminds me, Izuku, you haven't chosen a school yet." And everybody starts mumbling to each other, but what school would accept the quirkless kid? Then Kachin laughs before ignoring him. But as they cut to the end of the school day, Izuku is packing up, but nothing bad happens to him. So in his universe, Izuku is already a hero, so he doesn't try out for UA just yet. Because many schools think that people without quirks can't be heroes, and Izuku knows that's not true. But as Izuku leaves school, he sees the one and only Lucius Fox. Izuku says, "What are you doing here?" He says, "I'm here to help you." He says, "Okay. But guys, I'm going to end the video here. But don't worry, part 2 will be coming soon. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, everything else below. And yeah, just subscribe.